Congressman, thank you so much for being here with us this morning. I know you just got back last week from Ukraine, and when talking to our correspondent, Ali, you said it was a really tough trip. So tell me what you saw there.
It was a devastating trip, in that, I should say, heartbreaking trip, that you saw streams of refugees coming across the border, women and children, primarily elderly men, not knowing whether or not they would see their fathers or husbands again because they were not allowed across the border, cold, hungry, disheveled, only having a suitcase or two, looking for food. It was very distressful in that regard to see people suffering, not knowing what their tomorrow is going to be back, whether or not they'll see their homes again. Some not knowing where they were going to stay. So they were in shelters, waiting to see if someone that they knew would come. I think what was inspiring with some, you saw some of the Polish people coming who did not know them, taking some and saying, you can stay in my house. But the human suffrage was devastating. And it's all because of the evil acts of one man. They did not ask for this. They did not, all of a sudden had to, life as they knew it is halted. Yeah. And so I got to tell you that many of us just about broke down and cried and looking at them and talking to them. The other aspect was we also met with the governor of Lviv, who came across. We met them in between the borders of Ukraine and Poland. Now, his resolve of saying that we will not give up to Putin, we will not give in, we will fight. Just help us with weapons. We will fight, and we will fight and defeat the evil man, Vladimir Putin. And he was so focused, so determined. He said, we don't need American soldiers on the ground. All we need is America's help in getting the defensive weapons and the lethal weapons that we need to defend ourselves. And I could do nothing other than just hug him, because you could feel his determination in that manner. So, we also met, of course, with the foreign minister and had meetings also with some civilians. But it's tough listening to the stories and what human beings are going through right now.
Certainly, and it's tough for our viewers. Absolutely, and it's very tough for our viewers to watch. And you brought up that one of the people you spoke with said that they don't need troops, but they need weapons. I want you to take a listen to what Vice President Harris said about troops being on the ground in Ukraine, and then I'll ask you about it on the other side.
We are going to continue to do what we've done. For example, in the sanctions, it's been sanctions against their financial institutions, against their oligarchs, where we are targeting their mansions and their jets. What we are going to continue to do is stand firm with our allies in terms of reassessing what we are doing with sanctions. Everything is on the table for consideration, frankly. What we are not going to do, and that must be said also, is, as the President has continuously said, we are not going to put U.S. troops in Ukraine to fight the Russians on the ground or in the air.
So I understand tactically why troops cannot engage the Russian invasion, and only Congress can declare war. Some uncommon knowledge is, the war in Vietnam and extended campaigns in Afghanistan and Iraq were never actually stamped by Congress, for some of our younger viewers who may not know that. I'm curious from you, Congressman, as the chair of the House Foreign Relations Committee, what would it take for Congress to be ready to declare war or to encourage the Biden administration to actually put troops on the ground to engage Russian soldiers? Is that even an option? Is there a red line? And if so, what is it?
Well, I don't talk in red lines. Clearly, if Russia retaliated against any NATO ally of ours, that would invoke Article 5 of the NATO treaty, which would then cause a war between NATO and Russia, of which the United States and the president would probably come to ask for an authorization for the utilization of military force, which would then come through my committee, and we would vote on it, and then it would go to the full floor for the vote of the entire Congress. And So we hope that we don't get to that point. But if Putin decided to attack a NATO ally, I think that it'd be a consideration also for my part of you saw him expanding this war that he has started in Ukraine. Would be something that we would consider. But the president also could request of Congress an authorization for the utilization of military force. And at that time, we would have to consider it.
So we just learned that the U.S. has designated $200 million for Ukraine's defense. Curious your comment on that.
Well, look, I think that we need to give the Ukraine everything that they need. That's why we recently passed about $13.6 billion, nearly $14 billion for lethal defensive weapons, as well as for humanitarian concerns. And we have been making sure that those things that they need get into Ukraine immediately, and looking at other ways and all ways that we can help them shoot down the fighter jets that are up over their heads. But you can see the work and the resistance that the Ukrainian people are fighting. When we first saw the intelligence, it said that Ukraine could only last for 3 days. Here we are, day 11, day 12, and they're still fighting and resisting and pushing back. And that gives a chance for the crippling sanctions, because if you look at, for example, the Russian ruble is now worth less than a penny. They can't open up their stock market because they know there would be an immediate crash and over. All of the numbers of U.S. corporations and businesses from around the world. And in fact, the world is surrounding Russia as they try to surround Ukraine, in that 141 nations in the UN voted against Russia. So there's a consolidated effort on the Russian people also to start to rise up. And you see thousands of them being arrested and some sentenced to 15 years in prison by Putin because he's an evil person. So I hope those numbers continue and that the Russians, even within Russia, stand up more so their voice can be heard, because they are being devastated also internally by Vladimir Putin and his dis and misinformation.